As COVID cases continue to increase across the area, so does the wait time at local emergency rooms. I'm Chris Warner with what officials at Mercy Joplin are seeing.
Plus, doctors warn against the use of a horse dewormer as a COVID treatment. And as kids head back to school, some will be wearing masks. We'll learn about some of the best masks for kids.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The average daily number of new COVID cases within the city of Joplin is down, but it's still up across the region, putting a strain on Joplin hospitals. That's leading to an increased wait time at the emergency room. KOAM's Chris Warner spoke with Mercy Joplin about what they're seeing.
Wait times at ERs are never fun, and when you're not feeling well, they seem to last forever. However, due to the increase in regional COVID cases, that's led to a noticeable increase in local ER wait times.
2 years ago, our wait times were under 20 minutes, and that's the average, coming in the ER. In the last 6 months, we're 65 minutes or longer. So that's more than tripling your wait times in the ER.
Rhonda Schmidt-O'Toole is the Director of Emergency Services for Mercy Joplin. She says wait times to get into a room in the ER aren't the only increase. If you need to be admitted to the hospital, expect to wait longer.
It used to be you got admitted, we had a bed open upstairs, and we sent you upstairs. Now the average wait time for my patients waiting for beds is about 250 to 300 minutes. So that's about 3 or 4 hours that we're waiting for a bed upstairs. And like I said, sometimes that goes much longer into 12, 16 hours.
Schmidt-O'Toole says they've made a few changes to procedures in the ER to help speed things up a bit.
We've started processes of drawing labs and doing x-rays and things like that while people are in triage waiting to get into a room, trying to at least get the treatment started. And so then expediting that care once they get to the room.
While a wait of any kind can be frustrating, Schmidt-O'Toole says, be patient.
I know people are frustrated. It is not our desire to make anyone wait. They're not waiting because we're not working hard or we don't want to see them. And the reality is if you feel you have a need to come to the emergency room, we want you here. We want to be able to evaluate you and make sure that you're safe to go home if you can or get you the treatment that you need.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Officials with Mercy McCune Brooks and Carthage say they've also seen a significant increase in their wait times. Doctors warn people not to use a horse dewormer to treat COVID-19. Ivermectin, an antiparasitic, has gained popularity on social media as a potential treatment for COVID-19. Well, now farm stores are seeing increasing demand for the version that's used to treat worms in livestock. The FDA says that version could be very harmful or deadly because of the high dosage that's given to animals. A doctor based out of St. Louis also tells us people shouldn't take the human version without a prescription since there's not much data to support its effectiveness.
To be honest, if it shows that it really works, and again, based on a solid scientific methodology, then I think that we would be definitely on firmer ground to say that, we should use it.
The owner of Midwest Ag Supply in Carthage says demand has caused the price to double and is making it harder for farmers to find what they need. Now, today's KOAM News Now Instapoll question, we're asking, would you take off-label medicine for COVID-19 without a doctor's recommendation? You can participate in the poll at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or through the KOAM News Now mobile app. Results are updated live, and we're going to check in on the final results here in a bit. We've lost 2 more people in Joplin to COVID-19. The Joplin Health Department reports 2 men ages 60 and 87 have died with the virus. The latest deaths bring the city's total to 155. Missouri ranks 4th in the nation in COVID-19 deaths per capita. That's according to recent data from the CDC. The state health department says of 124 deaths reported today, 86 were discovered in the department's weekly examination of death certificates from across the state. One of those deaths was in June, 52 in July, 33 earlier this month, but 38 of the deaths were new, an unusually high one-day total. Top Republican legislators in Kansas are accusing Democratic Governor Laura Kelly's administration of illegally spending at least $86 million in federal COVID-19 relief funds by not getting their approval first. Governor Kelly's office didn't respond to the letter from Senate President Ty Masterson, House Speaker Ron Rickman Jr., and the House and Senate Budget Committee chairs. In the letter, the lawmakers threatened to explore filing a lawsuit if Kelly doesn't change course. Republicans say a budget measure requires legislative leaders' consent for any spending of relief dollars starting July 1st. Kelly's office contends agencies already have the authority to spend relief dollars. As more students across the country return to the classroom, battles over masks in schools continue to rage on. Top U.S. health officials say masking is key to keeping students safe. But which masks are best for kids? Mandy Gaither has more.
For millions of students and teachers, the beginning of the school year is spelling out chaos with quarantines, temporary closures, and moves to remote learning as COVID-19 cases climb.
Talking about flying blind relative to children, we need better data, and that's got to be the basis for action.
Admiral Brett Giroir, former coronavirus testing czar under President Donald Trump, says less than half of U.S. states report the number of children hospitalized for COVID-19. Because of that, he says the state-reported numbers are unknown in some places where children's hospitals are seeing a rise in cases.
We have a raging pandemic, and we do know with good data that if children wear masks in school, they can be safe.
So which mask is best for your child? A pediatrician says one they will wear.
If your child has been wearing a mask that they love for the last year and it still fits them well with that little nasal bridge that you can pinch down and there's no gaps on the sides and it curves under their chin.
The CDC says the best masks are those made for children, and the fit should be tested regularly to make sure it fits snugly and completely covers the child's nose and mouth with at least 2 layers of washable, breathable fabric.
If you can send a few with your child every day, wash them all at the end of the day, and I think that's sort of a good routine to get in the habit of.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
A new Axios Ipsos poll of more than 1,000 U.S. adults shows nearly 70% of Americans support local school districts requiring everyone to wear masks when they're in school. As the school year starts, KOAM's listening to your questions and getting answers from local education and health experts. You can submit questions on our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. While you're there, you can also check out previous stories we've covered concerning getting back to school safely. Again, KOAMnewsnow.com. As the COVID-19 Delta variant spreads, the National Park Service announces it's immediately enforcing new mask rules. Visitors, employees, and contractors are now required to wear masks inside all Park Service buildings and even in crowded outdoor spots. The rule applies regardless of a person's vaccination status or transmission levels within the community. The Park Service said it's following the latest science and guidance from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Nick Kelly, not a bad day out there. Some of us even got some rain.
Yeah, doing its best to keep most of us away from the 90-degree heat. However, some spots that didn't see rain today, like Joplin, for example, we started to 72, but we did have to top out around 90 degrees. At least that's where we should be for this time of the year, so not too terribly hot for this Tuesday afternoon, and we have thankfully seen a bit of a lull in our rain chances. Still a pretty potent shower, if not a little thunderstorm around Veneta, almost a blue jacket. That's about it for the start of the overnight hours around here, but as long as this upper low is still in play, we're definitely going to repeat our afternoon scattered storm chances again tomorrow, and maybe throw in a random shower or two during the morning. But right now, most of us are mainly in the mid-70s. Everybody drops back near 70 as we go into tomorrow morning. In fact, most of us around 69 with maybe a stray shower or two to start the day out. But like the past couple of days now, the best chances for rain will be during the afternoon, despite highs topping out around 86. We'll break down the rest of the forecast, which unfortunately has to include a heat wave on the way here in a bit.
See you then. Still ahead, a cooling down for summer spending. And the latest from Afghanistan as the Biden administration says it has assurances from the Taliban for the safe passage of Americans traveling to Afghanistan's international airport for evacuation. Summertime spending lost steam last month. According to the Commerce Department, retail sales dropped 1.1% in July. That was more than expected. Consumers pulled back as concerns over the Delta variant spread and government stimulus subsided. Despite last month's drop, Walmart managed to turn in a better than expected quarterly report card. The world's largest retailer brought in more than $141 billion in revenue in the second quarter. Walmart says groceries and back-to-school shopping drove sales, along with items like party supplies and luggage as families return to some pre-pandemic activities. Today in Afghanistan, the challenge of evacuating thousands of Americans and Afghan allies is at the forefront. The Taliban says they'll allow people to get safely to Kabul's airport, but U.S. citizens say that's not what they're experiencing. Reporter Deborah Alfarone is on Capitol Hill with more.
President Biden returned to the White House from Camp David, declining to comment on the situation in Afghanistan. The State Department says it has communicated with the first group of Americans who need to evacuate the country.
Our team is working hand in glove with military colleagues to help load planes safely and securely and as fast as possible.
But several Americans tell CBS News it's been too unsafe to get to Kabul's airport. The White House says at least 11,000 Americans are in Afghanistan and want to come home.
We are in contact with the Taliban to ensure the safe passage of people to the airport.
A Taliban spokesman held the group's first news conference since taking over the country, trying to convince the world they will not oppress the people of Afghanistan as they did 20 years ago. Members of Congress continue to criticize President Biden for the withdrawal of U.S. troops and the lack of a better plan to get Americans out.
To provide no transitional support for our Afghan partners. This is an unforced error.
Veterans are also struggling with the events of the past couple days.
What do? We gave them the country. We said, here's the key. Come on in, guys. Now that's really what we did. And the disaster is unfolding before us right now.
The Air Force is investigating Monday's incident when hundreds rushed a departing military jet on the tarmac, and at least 4 people were killed. The Pentagon expects more U.S. troops on the ground today and eventually one charter flight taking off every hour. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Washington.
The White House says 1,100 people were flown out today on 13 flights. 3,200 people have been evacuated so far. Later, the high school football season officially starts in a little more than a week in Missouri. In sports, we're going to check in on the Carl Junction Bulldogs as they prepare for game day.
Plus, not a lot of activity on the radar now, but rain chances aren't done yet. But when they do, it's going to heat up fast. Forecast next. Another day, another go with scattered rain and thunderstorms. A few spots in the morning, but like the past couple days, our better shot for storms waited until the afternoon. Warmth and humidity started to come together. But for some of you, you were lucky if you saw anything, while others saw quite a bit of rain. Indigo sky outside of Seneca, Missouri, one of the dry spots, courtesy of our time lapse looking over the casino and resort grounds. But the other areas did have to deal with some scattered rain and storms. Again, a couple isolated storms this morning on the Kansas side, then the more scattered variety across a little bit more of the area as we got into the afternoon. For some of you, again, you're lucky if you saw a drop of rain, while others got soaked with the heaviest of the rains. On the average, 0.2 of an inch of rain, but where the rain really came on down, anywhere from half an inch to almost 2 inches of rain just from today alone. Thankfully, though, ever since we got the evening underway, we have seen a little bit of a lull in our rain chances, but there is still a few little stragglers out there on the radar. The most prominent one is right over central Craig County, north of Veneta and to the west of Blue Jacket, where Oklahoma 2 and Oklahoma 25 intersect. That's the only potent shower and maybe a little tiny storm we have on the board. But most spots are looking like Joplin right now. Quiet skies, still a bit on the mild side, if not a bit warm side, 74 degrees with a south-southeasterly breeze at 7 miles per hour. Most of us have dropped back into the lower to middle 70s now. 70 in Milnette, actually 69 already near Stockton Lake, while we're still at 76 in Columbus, 77 in Welch and Miami. Eventually, though, we'll settle back near 69 or 70 degrees as we get into our Wednesday morning. And again, overall, we've seen a little bit of a lull in our rain chances here while the main rain continues across southern parts of Oklahoma and Arkansas. Not much to show you at the surface. but in the short term, it's what's upstairs that's driving our weather. This upper level low just to the north of the region, that is what's going to keep partly to mostly cloudy skies in place for tonight. And just like this morning, as we go through the overnight, I wouldn't be surprised if we had a couple isolated showers or storms as we get the morning drive underway. Otherwise, we'll all drop back to about 69, 70 degrees. And like the past couple days, we'll do our rain chances all over again with our best shot for scattered storms very late in the morning and certainly into the afternoon. That still won't stop us from having a warm day though. 69 in the morning, 82 by noon, afternoon highs right around 86 degrees. We'll calm things down going to Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, and then before that upper level low departs, we'll have better chances for scattered storms on Thursday, with highs once again topping out in the mid to upper 80s. So just over the next 2 days alone, you can see how the rain tracker might show nothing for a couple of spots, but where the rain can really come on down, half an inch to almost 2 inches still possible. However, the long-range forecast doesn't bode well if you are a fan of keeping the heat and humidity away, even though we do have the frontal boundary coming in with rain chances for Friday and Saturday morning. Look at what really becomes prominent Sunday and early next week. That upper level ridge developing to the south, that's going to take charge early next week, dry us out, and keep us hot and humid. 86 tomorrow, 87 Thursday, near 90 Friday and Saturday. Then the heat's on down. 91 Sunday, mid-90s Monday and Tuesday.
We'll deal with that when we have to. Right now, we'll enjoy the relatively cool temperatures, I guess.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Thanks, Nick. Coming up in sports, a young Carl Junction football squad is just 10 days away from week 1. We're going to hear from the team. Plus, the Columbus Titans enter the season with high expectations after an undefeated regular season in 2020. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
The Columbus Titans are in their first week of football practice. Now, the Titans have been on a roll lately, going 16-3 overall in the last 2 seasons. Now, Columbus has a lot of good players back this year, and once again, got high expectations this fall. Now, defensively, they have their leading tackler back in Trent Smith, along with defensive lineman Cody Schock. Both of those guys were first-team All-CNC selections a year ago. Offensively, going to be tough to stop. Columbus returns their quarterback Jackson Harity and their leading rusher Gabe Martin, who will work behind a really good offensive line.
We're going to run the ball. I can move it well on my legs, and you know what Gabe can do. Everybody knows that. And then our line, there's some dogs. You know, they can move some bodies around, but we can still get it done through the air. We got guys like Cole and Midget. They can catch any ball you throw up to them. I got a lot of trust in them when I throw it.
Our offensive identity is always going to be on our offensive line first. You know, they're the first guys to the party all the time, but we've got to establish the run game. Jackson's done a fantastic job leading our offense, and we're just going to go as our offensive line goes.
The Titans' first game of the season is on September 3rd on the road against Frontenac. On the Missouri side, it's week 2 of practice for the Carl Junction Bulldogs. CJ is just 10 days away from their season opener at home against Willard on the 27th. Now, the Bulldogs were 6-6 last season, finishing as the district runner-up in the playoffs. Now, they do lose some talented guys to graduation, including starting quarterback Alex Baker. And CJ, going to be on the young side this year, but a week into practice, some of those young guys are already making an impression.
I think there's a lot of kids that we didn't really expect to be, like components of our offense and defense this year that have really stepped up and taken the role that the guys that graduated last year left for us. So I think that's been really cool to see. It's really important that we get younger guys that want to play and know how to play and that care for the sport.
We're really trying to be the toughest team out here. We're small, but we're quick, and we're really emphasizing on the toughness side of it.
We'll have a full Carl Junction season preview right here on KOAM tomorrow night at 6. Well, quick reminder, our Pigskin preview is now live at KOAMnewsnow.com/pigskin. Got previews from Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, and of course our junior colleges and universities. Now, if you click on your team's logo, you'll see all of the content you would normally see in our Pigskin magazine, including 2020 reviews, returning starters, schedules, and of course 2021 outlooks. Now, at the bottom of each page, this is cool. Whenever we shoot highlights from your team this year, those highlights will be on your team's page, so make sure to check back in throughout the year to keep up with your favorite local teams. The Kansas City Royals snapped a 4-game losing streak last night, taking the series opener from the Astros 7-6. Tonight, the Royals try to make it back-to-back against the best team in the AL West. Now, this one went final a bit ago. Royals win at 3-1. Daniel Lynch, 7 innings, allowed just 1 run and strikes out 5. Game 3 is tomorrow night at 7:10. National League now, opening game of the series for the Cards and Brewers. Eduardo Escobar singles the other way. Tyler O'Neill, though, good throw home to get the runner trying to score. Yadier Molina back there with the tag. Still no score in this one. In the second, Colton Wong drops an RBI single here down the line. Arenado can't come up with it. Royals get the first run, and the Cards didn't score. Brewers win it tonight 2-0. That's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
Take time now to honor a local veteran, Airman 3rd Class Michael Bell. The Joplin native served in the U.S. Air Force, and we are proud to salute Airman 3rd Class Michael Bell. He's tonight's 4-state hero. All right, let's get a final look now at today's KOAM News Now Insta poll. Again, we've been asking, would you take off-label medicine for COVID-19 without a doctor's recommendation? The overwhelming majority, 84%, say no, they would not. This poll is now closed. Thank you for participating. Nick Kelly, some of us got some rain today. Others will get chances in the days ahead.
Yeah, before we all dry out and see the heat and humidity eventually return by early next week. But as long as the rain chances are around for the next 3 days or so, that will keep most of us in the mid to upper 80s for highs.
Final sports news.
We're going to continue our high school football previews tomorrow night. We're going to visit with the Fort Scott Tigers, and of course you can check up on your own local favorite local team, KOAMnewsnow.com/pigskin.
Yeah, the pigskin preview is ahead. A lot of people checking it out.
It's good.
For good reason, yeah. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget our morning show, and let's make it a great tomorrow.